Border Force are going on strike. And hear me out, I think this actually might just be good news. Because although you might initially think, oh gosh, there's going to be nobody to defend our borders, you then have to ask yourself, were Border Force actually defending the borders in the first place? No, they weren't. They were helping people make their way across the channel illegally. Let's not forget, this is what Border Force do. They go to the centre line of the channel. They don't even force the dinghies to make their way all the way across to Britain. They get a taxi service sort of behind, following them up to the centre line of the channel from the French. And then Border Force pick them up and give them a lift home to Dover. If that is border control, well, I'm just beyond belief if this is what you call border control, helping people illegally make their way into your country. They pick you up, and then another vessel comes and picks up the inflatable dinghy and takes that away for them. You can see here's an example of an overcrowded dinghy being rescued in the centre line of the channel, and they will be then taken home, processed, put up in a nice hotel at the taxpayers' expense. Right, this is them coming in to Dover. Every single day we see this Border Force giving them a lift over here to Britain, and they all come off and get processed and get put up in a hotel. Maybe if these guys go on strike, we might have a small chance of the number of boats coming to Britain reducing. Who knows? But look, I really doubt that the number of crossings is going to go up if Border Force go on strike. Let's look at why on earth they are going on strike. This is in the GB News article. Britain could be rendered defenceless against the migrant crisis as the organisation responsible for policing the English Channel is set to go on strike. Organisation responsible for policing the English Channel? I don't think they police the English Channel, okay? They're not policing it. They are welcoming in people breaking the law with open arms. Come on in, we'll give you a taxi ride. Welcome to Britain. Welcome to the taxpayer-funded hotel. Let's get you processed. Let's get you warm. Let's get you fed. Members of the Public and Commercial Services Union will take industrial action on the 14th of November. So that is the date where we're going to be keeping a beady eye to see whether the migrant crossings go up or down. Of course, the weather will play into it. We'll see what the weather is doing on that day. But I highly doubt that Border Force going on strike is suddenly going to mean that more people make their way into Britain, because I don't think Border Force were really using any force to stop them coming in the first place. 120 Border Force maritime workers who patrol British waters will walk out, potentially allowing opportunistic people smugglers free rein of the channel crossing. The workers are protesting frozen allowances and changes to terms and conditions that remain unaddressed. Do you know what happens in a private sector job if you want a pay rise? Typically, you have to show your boss that you are performing really well in order to get a pay rise. Surely, if you want to have a pay rise and you work for Border Force, you should be going to your bosses and going, look how many boats we have stopped from crossing the channel illegally. Look how well we have defended Britain's borders. Our job is to defend the borders, and we have done it. The boat crossings have come down. We've stopped. We've intercepted these boats. We've sent them back to France. They've not been allowed to make their way for Britain. I'm doing a great job. Give me a pay rise. That's how it should work, okay? It should not be a case that when the number of crossings coming to this country is going up and up and up and up, we could have a record year this year. We're at least roughly on track with 2022, when we had the highest ever, which was 45,000 people coming across on small boats in a year. It shouldn't be the case that the numbers are like that and you get given a pay rise, okay? If you're not doing your job, no pay rise. I'm fed up of these unions demanding pay rises when there's no proof in the pudding. There's no evidence to show that they've done an amazing job and they deserve it. I mean, the one bit of sympathy I'll give them is that they are sort of following orders. The government is telling them to not bother using any force to defend the borders and telling them to just give people a taxi service. But still, Border Force should be using force to stop channel crossings, and they're not doing it. As well as patrolling for smuggling or unauthorised entry into the UK, the workers also board vessels for inspection. Okay, so anybody trying to smuggle drugs into the UK, maybe November 14th is your lucky day on the upside of things, because although they allow all the migrants to come in willy-nilly and don't use any force against them, they do sometimes stop people trying to smuggle drugs into the UK. Of course, I'm joking and I don't condone smuggling drugs into the UK, but maybe some people will have a go on that day. Let's see. The PCS union describes the burden of their workers as dangerous, complex, demanding, and sometimes harrowing. Oh, you poor, poor little things. And wait for the last part. Wait for the last part of this statement. The PCS General Secretary Fran Heathcote said our dedicated members in Border Force Maritime have waited far too long for fair recognition of the vital and dangerous work they do. This strike sends a clear message to the Home Office. We will not accept continued delays and inadequate proposals. We stand ready to escalate if necessary. And wait for this. The Home Office commended the Border Force for their, quote, tireless commitment and dedication every single day to keeping our borders safe and secure. At what point have Border Force kept our borders safe and secure? Do you understand what the word secure means? Secure means that people who aren't supposed to get into Britain cannot get into Britain. Okay? That is not happening. So you have literally pulled that quote out of thin air, made it up. Lies, lies, lies from the government as usual, acting as though we have smashed the gangs and solved the illegal migration crisis when that could not be further from the truth. Also, poor RNLI, they're probably going to have to do overtime on the 14th of November because they helped step in when Border Force are so overwhelmed that they can't pick up all the migrants in the channel. So, will the boats have to make it all the way to Britain without a taxi ride home on November 14th? Actually, probably not. Probably not going to make any difference because I'm sure the RNLI will be straight in there to give a helping hand and to take them all home and welcome them in to their taxpayer-funded hotel paid for by you. Anyway, that is the latest at Border Farce UK. I'm Chloe Dobbs. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this and you want to help us out, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. It's completely free and it means you'll see more of our content on your feed, which has to be a good thing, right? Thanks for watching. See you soon.